In this video, I'm going to demonstrate 7 makeup mistakes that women over 50 make when applying makeup. And I should know, because I'm one of them. Hello and welcome to Beauty by Des. I'm Des, I'm over 60, and I love to talk about makeup, skincare, clothes, and other bits and bobs that make me happy. I also have a website called Beauty by Des, and I'm on Insta and Facebook too. Now, if that sounds like your kind of thing, then please consider giving me a thumbs up, because then it lets me know that I'm on the right track. And better yet, subscribe to the channel so that YouTube knows that I make content that older women might enjoy. And with that, let's crack on. So, 7 mistakes that women tend to make when they're applying makeup, which they do for very good reasons because they want to keep their youthful looks. But what tends to happen is that actually it makes them look older. So I'm going to do one side of my face the wrong way and one side the right way. Now I appreciate my so-called wrong way might not be your wrong way at all, and you might think it looks great. And another caveat is that what looks good on camera doesn't necessarily look good outdoors. So I'm going to try and go out in the daylight after I've done this side and that side. This will be the wrong side, so to speak, and this will be the right side. And we'll see what they look like in natural light. So without further ado, let's crack on. So I've prepped my skin with Eucerin SPF, which I'm using in place of a moisturiser, which is really thick and gorgeous. I'll put the details down below for you. And my skin is ready to go, and I'm going to apply foundation. So before we get on to the mistakes, I'm going to apply the foundation and the concealer that I'm going to use today, because I don't think that women tend to make that many mistakes with both of those. I certainly haven't counted them in my mistakes, because we all know we're not supposed to stop the foundation right here. We need to carry it on a little bit. I understand, because what we're worried about is staining our tops. But actually what I do is I use my trusty scarf. So when I'm applying foundation, in fact, let's do that. I'm going to do that now. Let me put it round my neck so that I don't damage my nice clean white t-shirt. So let's pop that in there. Now this isn't one of the mistakes part of the video, so we're just going to crack on. In fact, I might just fast forward through this bit. We're going to use this Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Foundation. I was going to use Lift and Illuminate, but I fear I've used that so many times in videos. We don't need a lot of a pump, so we'll just pop that on. I'm going to use my fingers because it's quite liquidy. Right, so we've done our foundation, and now we're going to use our concealer, and I've got the Teint Idole Ultra Wear by Lancome, which I absolutely love. Ooh. So I've put my foundation on, I've put my concealer on, and that takes me to mistake number 1, heavy powdering. Now, we do this for very good reasons. We want our skin to look smooth. So I know some people use primers. I don't really get on with primers myself. I'm not sure that they really make much of a difference to me. And I don't know whether makeup sits all that well on top of primer for me. Although I am thinking about doing a video about that, so watch this space. But I think a lot of women, and I know I've done this, used to be back in the day, and maybe still are, guilty, if you can call it that, of over powdering, because you think that by powdering your skin you're going to be smoothing it out more. So let me show you an over powdered face on this side and a not over powdered face on that side. And what we're also going to do while we're doing that is I'm going to be powdering my lids and under my eyes, because that's the only powder I tend to use now, is just on my lids and under my eyes to set my concealer. So let's do that. So I'm going to take my lovely Charlotte Tilbury airbrush, I wish I could say this properly. I'm going to take my lovely airbrush Flawless Finish Powder by Charlotte Tilbury. As you can see, incredibly well used. I'm going to take a nice tapered but quite thick brush, and I'm just going to apply that to my lids and under my eyes on this side. Okay. Now on the other side, I'm going to apply a much heavier powder and all over. So I'm going to use, I do like this powder actually, and I think it is quite a good dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury. It's this one by L'Oreal. It's called the True Match, I think. Is it True Match? Yes, it is. But what we're going to do is I'm going to use a different brush. So I'm going to use, I think we'll use this It Cosmetics quite big, thick, fluffy brush. I mean, actually, it's funny, you know, this comes with a little compact. I mean, back in the day, we all used to use compacts, didn't we? Not compacts. We all used to use the little, what do you call it? The little puff that came in the compact. But we're not going to do that today. So let's just pop a load of powder on. I mean, actually, do you remember those amazing powder puffs that you used to get in the loose powders? I never got on with loose powder. I don't know if it's because my skin was a bit greasy back in the day, but I loved the idea of, you know how you used to see in old films in the 30s, this, you know, somebody like Jean Harlow would take this big powder puff, this sort of fluffy thing, and would sort of put it all over, and oh my gosh, I used to think that looked so nice. Anyway, so I'm digressing now. Right, let's put a load of powder on this side without being too discerning about where we're putting it. And I'm going to put it on the side of my nose as well. Of course, as I put it on, it's actually looking quite nice. But like I say, what looks good on camera doesn't necessarily look good outside. So anyway, we'll see. This may turn out to be, this is the right way and this is the wrong way. Who knows? Let's give it a go. So that's mistake number one, too much powder. Now let's move on to brows, because that's the next thing I usually do in my makeup routine. I don't know why I do it this way. I usually do foundation, concealer, powdering around the eyes, and then move on to my brows. So that's what we're going to do. Now what we're going to do is a heavy brow on this side and a lighter brow on that side. Now my brows, as you can see, if I come in, you can see that they are quite sparse. They've always been quite sparse. I've never had dark brows. I've never been very hairy, except here. I've always wanted to fill in my brows, or when it was the fashion, or when I felt like it, but I think I have been guilty in the past of overdoing my brows. So let's do a heavier brow on this side and a lighter brow on that side. And we're going to use my favourite brow pencil, which is the Bobbi Brown Long Wear Brow Pencil, and it's this one here. And actually what's good about it is it's got a little spoolie on one end, and it's a retractable pencil, and it's lovely and waxy. It's really great. So in fact, I used to do my brows quite heavily. So let me do a heavy brow on this side because I don't have a lot of hair. So there we are, we've got one heavy brow and one lighter brow. Now I think the lighter brow looks better, but again, we'll have to see what it looks like on camera because it may look different. It may not look as heavy as it does to me at the moment. Right, I've taken the scarf off because I don't think we need to worry too much about the rest of the makeup. Now mistake number 3. This is about winging out eyeshadow. Now I'm sure if, like me, you have watched many a YouTube video where makeup lovers use the Wayne Goss method to wing out their eyes with I think quite a dark shadow up to their eyebrow. I know you mustn't go below the eyebrow, and I've tried that. I've tried sticking plasters and what have you to try and get the right line, but I honestly don't think it works on wrinkly, crinkly eyes. It might do up until your 50s, but beyond your 50s, let's say in your 60s and beyond, like me, I just think it looks all wrong, and I can't make it work. But that may just be me. I may just not be very good at doing it. So let's have a go. I'm going to do the winged eyeshadow out on this side and a lot less winged, in fact not winged at all on the other side, but still using a deeper colour in the crease. And let's see how it looks. Mistake number 4 now. Bronzers. My God, this is a bit of a minefield, isn't it, bronzers? Where do we apply it? Do we apply it on the cheekbones, below the cheekbones, here? Do we mix it up with contour? Do we get a shimmer bronzer? Do we get a matte bronzer? It's a bit of a minefield. Now, I think the mistake that older women tend to make with bronzer is they use it as a contour. And I've done this myself. I've sucked in my cheeks, I've gone here, but that's not what it should be. And there's so much of a debate about not just where it should be, but what type of bronzer you use, because apparently, according to some people on YouTube, a bronzer should have a shimmer in it, or tends to have a shimmer in it, but actually I've got quite a lot of matte bronzers. So I don't know what the answer is really, but I do know where we shouldn't be applying it. So let me apply it on this side where I think we shouldn't apply it, and this side where I think we should, and let's see whether one looks better than the other. So the key thing with bronzers is that you need to put them where the sun would naturally hit. Now, I had to think about this a bit. So I suppose it's like you think about where you get sunburnt, or where we used to get sunburnt back in the day before we knew better. So it's going to be here, here, the tops of your cheeks, and probably your chin. It's not going to be under here. This is not where to put a bronzer as such. If you want to diminish your chin, you need to put a matte contour powder or a matte bronzer, not a shimmery one, because a shimmer is going to draw attention to it. And a contour bronzer, if you like, or a contour powder is going to try and diminish. That's the point of it. It's trying to diminish and sculpt the face. That's why we tend to put it here as well if we want our cheekbones to sink in. I don't think we do. When we get past 60, at least, even 50, we experience bone loss as we get older. So we don't want to accentuate the fact that our elastin and our collagen are diminishing and our bones are also diminishing. We want to try and plump out the skin. So that's where the bronzer sort of can give you a glow and perhaps take away and diminish the issue of the sort of sunken cheeks and all of that kind of thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Hourglass bronzer, which to be honest is a little bit light, but I'm going to use that anyway on this side, and I'm going to use my classic bronzer, which is my Bobbi Brown Stone Street, which as you can see is incredibly well used, on this side. So let me apply the bronzer as I think it probably shouldn't be applied, on the left hand side of my face. So what I used to do was I would suck in and I'll put it here. Now I'll put some under my chin, but it's fine because it is actually a matte, so it's not too bad. I'll also put it here because I do see a lot of YouTubers doing that. We've gone here and we've gone here, and actually in a way that is the classic way that people used to apply a bronzer, was in a figure of 3 like that. So that's what we've done. Okay, that's that side. Now let's do the other side. We're going to use this beautiful ambient lighting bronzer, is it called, by Hourglass. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to use the same brush because I've only got one bronzing brush. But what we'll do is, in this one, we're going to just apply it where I said, on where the sun naturally hits. So let's do that. So we're going to put a little bit here, but not too much. We're going to put it here. Now we're going to feel for our cheekbones. Some people say put it on the cheekbones and some say just under. So where are my cheekbones? Here. Actually, the other thing to say is I don't think this brush is great for bronzing. I really need a thinner brush, I think. I mean, it's okay, but it's maybe a little bit on the thick side. So I'm going to sort of squeeze it together a bit and just dot it sort of here. The problem with doing this with the bronzer, I think, or putting it here, is it also gets quite confused with the blusher, which we're going to come to in a minute. But let's just see. So it's, my cheekbones are here. I can see it's going on. I mean, actually, it's probably been mixed with a Bobbi Brown. But not to worry. We're just going to do it there. We've done a bit here. I am going to blend them out in a minute. A little bit on the end of the nose. And a little bit on the chin like that. Actually, I've gone into the other side, but don't tell anyone. Right, and before we do, actually no, let's do blending. Right, let's do a bit of blending. I'm going to use my trusty blending brush, my kabuki brush. Right, we're going to blend carefully because we don't want to blend too much. Otherwise, we're just going to get rid of it. So I'll just blend out a bit here. To be fair, we have to blend on the other side as well. So let's do that. It's very hard for me to tell on camera, but anyway, let's see how it looks later on. So this is supposedly the good side and this is the bad side. Okay, that leads us on nicely to mistake number 5, which is putting on too much blusher and putting it in the wrong place. I do this all the time. I'm always over blushing too far down here and then I have to end up wiping it off. So that's what I'm going to show you on this side. Now, I do think it is really difficult, again, because I suppose we don't have that much, you know, real estate, for want of a better expression, on our faces as we get older. Like I say, everything tends to sort of sink in. Gravity pulls it down. So it is really difficult to know where to put blusher. Some people say, well, put it up here, but that doesn't seem quite right to me either, because you don't blush up here, do you, in a natural way? I mean, unless you were terribly embarrassed or you were having a hot flush or something, maybe. Anyway, so I think we're going to try and just put it too low down here and just about right on here. But I do think we do want it on the apples of our cheeks, because after all, look at our apples. Right, let's have a go. So we're going to use my beautiful Luminous Flush by Hourglass. I absolutely love this colour and it's perfect for spring, summer. And I'm going to get my, now this is another brush which is actually probably a little bit too thick. It's a little bit like the bronzer brush that I've got, but let us put it on the wrong way. So we're going to put it too far down. I suppose you can see the apple, when you push it down, kind of down here. We will go up a bit. See, already I've come down here, which isn't very good, is it? Oh my God, I've really gone overboard there. I mean, I am going to shear that out. But I probably got so much product on. Let's try and be a bit careful on this side and try and put it. Now, how do we want it here? We don't want it here. We just have to be gentle. I suppose that's me. I'm always in a rush. Maybe dotting it is better. That's why a cream blusher is probably a good idea. Yes, I mean, that doesn't look great, does it? But to be fair, we don't want to be too unfair to the so-called wrong side. Gosh, that's looking a bit clown-like, isn't it? Let's get our blending brush and blend it out a bit. See, it's now merging into the bronzer as well, which is a bit of a prob. Although the bronzer's down here, this one, I suppose we've got a bit of both here. Maybe if we're just a bit more careful with our blending. Okay, so that's blusher. Now let's move on to lipstick. So mistake number 6 is using a heavier lip liner colour than your actual lipstick. So we'll do a heavier lip line on this side and a nice light one on that side, and let's compare and contrast. So we're going to use the Lip Cheat by Charlotte Tilbury, and this one is, I think, in Pillow Talk Medium. Oh no, it's in Hot Gossip, I beg its pardon. Right, so what I would do if I was using a lip liner on the other side is I'd actually put the lip liner on after the lipstick, because I find it goes on better. So for lipstick, we're going to use the Lisa Eldridge Velvet Beauty. Oh, I just love this lipstick. There it is. Beautiful pink colour. Let's put that on. There we are. And on the other side, we're going to put on the lipstick first. And actually, I'm going to use my fingers so as not to get too strong a colour. And then we'll put the pencil over the top. Just get the mirror. It just evens out the lips. I mean, to be honest, I don't use lip liner very often, but there we are. So the final mistake that I think a lot of women do make, and certainly I've been guilty of this, is having a very strong eye and a very strong lip. So I'm just going to strengthen this eye and strengthen the lip. So there we are. We've got the so-called wrong side and the so-called right side. I'm going to pop out in the daylight now and let's see how they both look. Well, this has been a very interesting exercise, I must say, because I've just been outside and you'll see in the insert it actually doesn't look that bad in daylight, this side. I thought it would look far too heavy, but we'll see. And you be the judge. Let me know in the comments below what you think, because actually it has been really interesting, because I don't know whether I've exaggerated this side too much or not enough, or maybe it's actually much better than I thought it would be. So there you have it. Those are the 7 mistakes that women over 50 tend to make when they're putting on their makeup. But actually, I think we've shown that the mistakes aren't that bad, are they? I mean, after all, it doesn't look terrible, that side. In fact, on camera, it really doesn't look bad at all. And even in daylight, it's nowhere near as strong as I thought it would be. So maybe those mistakes aren't really mistakes at all. Anyway, I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope I've shown you that actually the mistakes we make are not necessarily mistakes. And if we like putting makeup on that way, then that's absolutely fine and we should carry on doing so. I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please consider giving me a thumbs up, and better yet, subscribing to the channel. And do leave me a comment below. Let me know what mistakes, if any, have you made, and are you correcting them, or are you just happily doing what you're doing and love doing so? Because after all, makeup is meant to make us feel great, isn't it? And if we feel great and we feel we look great, then that's all that matters. And thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you on my next one. Bye.